In a world grappling with the devastating impact of synthetic opioids, one name stands out: fentanyl. This potent drug, 50 times more powerful than heroin, has become a leading cause of death among Americans aged 18 to 45. Fentanyl is a synthetic opioid, easier and cheaper to produce than heroin. Its deadly potency has led to an epidemic of overdoses, claiming tens of thousands of lives each year in the United States. In response to this crisis, US President Donald Trump has imposed new tariffs on Chinese goods, accusing Beijing of turning a blind eye to the fentanyl trade. The US Drug Enforcement Agency has identified China as the main source of fentanyl-related substances trafficked into the United States. Despite Beijing's stricter controls in 2019, the supply lines have merely shifted. Rather than direct shipments, chemical components are now sent from China to Mexico, where they are processed into fentanyl and smuggled across the US border. China denies any illegal trafficking of fentanyl between China and Mexico, pointing to its tough drug laws and promising to crack down on the trade. In October 2023, the US imposed sanctions on over 24 China-based entities and individuals, accusing them of supplying fentanyl precursors to US-based narcotics traffickers and Mexican cartels. Following a summit between US President Joe Biden and Chinese President Xi Jinping in November 2023, the two nations agreed to restart talks on drug control. Analysts remain skeptical about the effectiveness of these measures, noting that manufacturers can develop new variants of synthetic precursors faster than they can be regulated. The global fentanyl supply chain, which ends with the deaths of Americans, often starts with chemical companies in China. The fight against this deadly trade requires closer coordination between Washington and Beijing. As the US continues to battle the fentanyl crisis, the need for international cooperation and stringent enforcement remains critical.